Faha. How you doing, my friend? Welcome, welcome. And we're back. Bloody, it was only a week, but I missed it. But we're here. We're ready to go again. Elsie, great to have you. Srinathan, how you doing? Just going live on Instagram, and we'll get the party started. Oh, no, we won't. As always, I've forgotten something. Need to connect the tablet. Whoop. And we're back. Travis, how you doing? Alrighty. Let's see, is the tablet all working how it should? Beautiful, seeming pretty smooth. If you ask me about it. Alright. So this is where we left off last stream. I want to keep having to play around with just these kind of colors and color variation and that kind of thing. So what I might do is I just might whip open Pinterest. Let's see if we can find a little warm up. Just a little warm up face to get going with something interesting lighting wise. What are we thinking? Bashar, how you doing? Great to have you. Let's go with this lady. Just because. Alright. Whoa. We don't want to stretch it too much, but it's not really going to matter. Okay. Let me just get situated here. Alright, so we're going to do timed again, like usual. Water, I reckon we can try that. Venture, you're too kind. Thanks for popping in. Erica, yes, it'll be saved to YouTube, the live. Caradox Lenuka, good morning to you. All right, so. Move this here, move her here. Come on, Photoshop. All right. Gives us a nice little playground to work within. Everything's feeling smooth. And because I had to restart Photoshop and from complete scratch because it crashed on me, I don't have my brush with me. So what can we do about that? Let's just adjust one of these brushes to something that I'd like. I'm just going to squish it. There we go, and maybe angle it. That'll work. Don't have to worry about texture or anything. We're just laying down some simple shapes to begin with. Young Word, how you doing? Poopy Puppy. Hello, you're right. It's amazing. Do you have any tips to improve speed while drawing? I think not focusing on speed is being thinking about how to get to speed. is one way to think about it. So you could be speedy by literally like focusing on doing fast brush strokes and blah 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 blah, or you could be more controlled and what's the word, deliberate with your strokes. While it might not look like you're going fast, the result that you want will come faster, at least in my experience. What's that saying? It's slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's like some military thing. Ray, how you doing? Varenia, hi, could you talk us through your thought process when you're stylizing features? Yeah, we'll get to that. Sketchy, what's happening? All right, I reckon we should, and I've lost all my, where's my tools? Do we have the timer? Docs, where's my timer? Countdown timer. Boom, all right. So let's go. Maybe a cheeky 5 minutes to give ourselves a sketch. All right. How does that sound? So let's just go 5 minutes on the clock. Sesh, how you doing? Wellington, can you say hello from Brazil? I can only say hello from Australia. I'm not going to travel all the way to the Brazil just to say hello. I think that's a translation thing. I know. I'm just fucking with you. Hello to Brazil. All right, 5 minutes on the clock. Let's get going. This is my first drawing session in about a week and a half. So forgive me, please. JS, how you doing? ET, welcome. Now I'm going to be using the Filthy plugin. This is the updated version. Let's knock down the opacity. I'm fucking with settings here. So I'm feeling a tad rusty. But that's okay. We will see what happens. So it's been a massive couple of weeks for me with the success of the second batch drop, which was awesome. And then that's when that was only half the battle. The next part was getting all the orders out to everyone. So that was all last week, just getting all the orders fulfilled. So that's all done. And I just gave myself the week just to focus on that, regenerate, recoup. And now I'm more motivated than ever. To smash out the content. So I've got a YouTube video in the works. I also bought a 3D printer, which is going to be a fun addition for iteration. So there's going to be a lot more sculpting videos, that's for sure. Because I've fallen in love with the whole sculpting side. So I want to be able to iterate fast, which is going to be wicked. Bashar, I've always wanted a 3D printer. Me too. My dad's got one. And the quality that you can get with the resin ones nowadays, they're phenomenal. So I've already done some test prints just with like nothing super spectacular. But can't wait because I've got so many ideas for like sculpts to put out in like next batches and different like runs of certain things, and so this is just going to allow me to get that stuff out. But I don't think I'll actually be selling the prints themselves, like printing them and then painting them. I'm actually going to use them as a part of the production process, where I might start off with that print and then I might sculpt on top of that, and then I'll create a mold, and then I'll cast it in a different kind of resin, whether it be rotocast or solid kind of thing. So it's not sort of like I'm going to be necessarily printing and then painting those prints, if that makes sense. It's going to be a part of a production chain. And a huge inspiration for that has been Gabriel Suarez. If you guys are familiar, just go check him out. If you're not familiar, do yourself a favor. So, because if I wanted to, because I've got so many ideas for like full like characters and like anatomy tools and that kind of thing. If I want to get the ideas done within the next decade, you know, I think the 3D printer is going to be helping me out a lot. And I get to learn more about Blender as well, which is going to hopefully benefit you guys at the same time. All right, so this is just me getting some shapes down, not going for super duper likeness, just getting the vibe, you know. Shit, what time have we? No, I don't want. Where's my flip? Flip canvas, flip horizontal. Oh, there's no shortcut. All right, we're gonna fix that. Cause yeah, just right in the thick of it, I needed to get stuff done for the packaging and everything last week, and then Illustrator wouldn't work, and then Photoshop wouldn't open, as it always goes with any software. So then I just re-downloaded it, and that seemed to fix the issue. Yes, Sesh. I would recommend, because I was looking at the more expensive ones. Like more expensive, like there's a whole bunch of, you know what, I'm just going to talk and keep sketching. The time is gone, but I'm in charge of this stream, and I'm just going to keep sketching for a little while and talk about the 3D printing stuff because I'm really excited about it. So there's like a, it's like a whole world that I'm not super familiar with. There's kind of like a hierarchy of like what the quote unquote good ones are. And there's the ones that like the companies that are like the Apple of 3D printing, and those printers go for like 11 grand. And I just can't warrant sinking that kind of money yet into a printer when I'm just first testing it out. So I ended up getting a Elegoo Saturn 3 Ultra, which has like a large enough build plate to do some good things, and it's like at a decent speed and a decent price as well. It's kind of like your mid-range sort of printer. But just from the test prints, man, the detail is phenomenal. The only drawback to the resin stuff is it's fucking messy. So you've really got to have a process down for like washing and curing them. But I'd like to fold that somehow into the content as well. I reckon that'd be fun. Selection, bright note, get out of here. Where's my marquee lasso tool? Okay, thank you. Reason being because Ben applied to Alien School is going to be a big show. Che S, I got one recently secondhand. Oh, Che, awesome. What one did you get? Did you get the resin or the what was it, FDM or SLA? The squiggly one where it's just like a melted plastic. All right, so I'm gonna start putting in some of these darker darks. So I'm gonna get like more graphic with the shapes, not graphic as in rude, more graphic as in like simplified shapes. ABD, what are you on? ET Ben, how long have you been drawing? Where are we at? What, we've been like, what, 15 minutes or so? No, I've been drawing most of my life, on and off. So now I'm just kind of drawing with shape, which is kind of like painting, really. Like if you think of the brush strokes that you put down, like even with traditional painting, you're just drawing with shape. Let's get a little bit more pointy up here. And I tend to feel like I see shape easier than line. Like I can get there with line, but I always end up, excuse me, always end up tweaking my, like if I do a line work then painting, I always end up tweaking the painting a lot, no matter how long I spend on the line work, you know. I tend to see shape a little bit easier, but some people see line a lot easier as well, so it's like one of those weird things. Lee, to be frank, I want to paint your art style, but I just can't, however. Not with that attitude. I do try to practice the way you render. I also downloaded your tutorials on Pinterest. That's cool. Well, hopefully some watching me do this stuff on stream can help you out as well. Just a little bit. Julia, how you doing? Great to have you back. Hope you've been well. Value Art, how you doing? Marcio, that's a very good call. Having a tutorial on the Filthy plugin. I am in full content mode now since the last drop launch, so I've got a full content plan, and that is a part of it. Definitely. But man, it's good just to do a bit of drawing, you know. Just sit back, relax, and chat with you guys. Lana, welcome. Great to have you. Young word, Ben, I've been rendering balls. Whoa, okay. Now, the question is, how do I now apply the balls to the face? I'm pretty sure that's just, you were... No. Let's not go there. Okay, so... The way to think about it is the sphere. Let's call it the sphere. The sphere can have a corresponding plane to any part of the face, more or less. Not the material, unless you've got all different spheres with different materials, right? But, for example, tangent time, we've just gone, we said fuck the timer, didn't we? All right. I'm just going to do a real shitty sphere. No, you know what? I'm just going to sketch it out. So let's say we've got the sphere here, right? And we can imagine there's like all these little planes going back in space, right? All these like, right? You can understand that. And if to make it clearer, if we did like the wireframe of the sphere, which kind of makes it look basketball-esque, but you get the idea. Now, if we take this plane, let's say, all right, we look at the angle. Imagine, so this is called a normal in 3D land, but let's just imagine that this angle here, let's just call this like X, right? We get mathematical here, but not really. I just need to name it something. Let's remove these tangents because it's very unclear. Hold on. So let's say that this is pointing at this angle outwards, right? And we'll just call this X. Somewhere on this face, right, we can find very similar. Maybe up here there'll be a plane, right? Maybe at the bottom of the lip, maybe like here. If we imagine the planes, they'll be facing potentially at the same angle, like with our best guess, right? So all these can correspond to this plane. And if this plane has a value, we can pretty confidently put a similar value on each of those planes there, right? That's how you can sort of reverse engineer and sort of fix your work using the sphere. So that's how I would, without going into too much detail and going off onto a bloody crazy tangent, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I might do a video on that to make more sense. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense, a little bit of sense to get you going. Lucy, hi Ben, I recently discovered your channel. Welcome. And I've been watching a few of your videos and tutorials on Instagram. I have a bit of a problem stylizing and exaggerating anatomy. Do you have any advice? Yes. It's a pretty broad question though. Is there anything in particular that I could elaborate on? Because that's like a whole topic, you know what I mean? It's like, how do you, it's almost asking it like, it's not your fault by any means, but just how I'm like from someone trying to explain something. It's like, how do you paint? There's so many different ways to do it, but to give a broad overview of how I think about stylization is, first I break it down into kind of 2D shapes, but let's not even call it 2D shapes. Let's call it like simple shapes, right? Because if I'm looking at reference, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at the 2D shapes here. I simplified this nose down almost into kind of this triangle, but I haven't drawn the full triangle, but I'm just thinking about that, right? And the eyes, ovals, the lips, upper and lower, half circles, right? And from there, I've got a lot of freedom to manipulate and play with the shapes, moving the eyes a little bit further apart. Or like, don't be afraid to do this either with your drawings or paintings or whatever. Like, what does this look like? Does this make it look weird? right? Now we've kind of changed the whole look of the face by just doing that. A lot of it has to do with experimentation, but starting with simple shapes first gives me the freedom to not get bogged down in the details, because what can quickly happen is, if we're using a more realistic reference, is we can say, okay, there's this like kind of like little shape here, so then I've got to add that here. I haven't even added that here. I might want to add that little sort of inner part of the eye, but then you can start to say, okay, this tiny shape has to be exactly this shape of the nose. And that's where I can tend to get lost in the kind of no man's land of realism and the stylized invention, right? But the reason I don't say 2D shapes necessarily is because I'm kind of thinking about them both at the same time. For example, with the nose here, I could begin to think about the 2D shape, but then very quickly we've got a 2D shape here. All I have to do is this, boom, and now we've got a 3D shape with volume. But I'm kind of, what's the word, doing like an abridged version of that, because I don't have to draw all this in, right? And I can kind of just indicate something along those lines, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense and it wasn't a bunch of rambles, but yeah, with a broad question, I've got to give a broad answer, unfortunately, but I'll keep that in mind for future tutorials and explanations. Dynamite. Hi Ben, I'm struggling with organizing my learning. Do you go with what feels best, or do you use a more structured approach? I would start at the end in like, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? And you can go macro with that. So you can go really big with like, okay, I want to draw like Pixar Studios. I want to draw like whatever, right? And then you can start to structure your learning based on certain parts. Like, okay, like for example, today, I want to focus just on shapes and maybe like color variation in the face. I'm not looking at getting anything too super rendered, but just focusing on those two things, shapes and color variation. That then gives you, one, references you can look up that's clear, so you don't spend the next 2 hours looking at reference. And two, there is a semi-clear indication of what's a success. Although that's never ultra clear. Because I always, when I look back at my work, even from like a couple of months ago, I'm like, ugh, yuck. There's so much different, more stuff I could have done to it, blah, 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 you know what I mean? So starting at the end helps me. Give it a shot. It may not help you. Maybe you want to be more free form with it. There's no right or wrong. I don't think. But that's how I like to structure my stuff. Usually draw with the stream, but I'm tired tonight. No worries, Julia. No worries. Sesh, just curious, what was the first job you got, or what do you recommend for a university guy in art, if possible? I've got a weird way of getting into this industry, I guess. Like, I don't fully feel like I'm in the industry. I don't even know what, when someone says, what do you do? I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I draw stuff, I sculpt stuff, I paint stuff, and I share it on the internet. Really. What was my first? Because I was in and I still am. I still enjoy it. Software designer and developer. And my first kind of illustration gigs were through that, where like a client I was doing some freelance gigs on the side, needed some like illustrations. And I was doing this already. I was like, what about these? And they liked it. And that was kind of a skill set that set me apart in that industry, because not many people had that skill in that industry. At least in my, like where I was working in. to do that kind of stuff. So I started doing that, but it was a very like different kind of style than what I'm doing now, if that makes sense. It still needed to have a little bit of a corporate-y feel for like tech and whatever. But yeah, that was kind of my first paid gig, and then I had a friend that wanted me to do some stuff for their stream. So then I did some illustration work for that. But it was kind of very small. And then I just started posting to Instagram. And then without going into all the details, the rest is kind of history from there. And now this is my full-time gig. And then from that, I've gotten opportunities all through just posting online and sharing. I think my thought process is the most important thing I've put out there if I was looking for work, you know what I mean? Versus not necessarily the final result, if that makes any sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Glad to hear it, young word. Hopefully that did make sense. I feel like if I just take the eyes and scale them up, it won't fit into my anatomy anymore. Lucy, that's a very good point. So then everything that you change, right? And that's why it's not as easy as just like, okay, make the eyes bigger. Because if you make the eyes bigger, and this is where like understanding, I've actually got my next YouTube videos on this, understanding a little bit about the skull and how it would fit in. You know, we've done this a few times on stream, but I like to do it just as like a practice, understanding where everything fits in, where are like the hard surfaces, you know, like where are the eye sockets, right? Where's the full skull? You know, can we find now, you don't have to be able to do this by any means, but it's something that I like to do. Find that eye socket. You know, and then you start to understand, without having to draw all of this, how the features might fit in, regardless of how stylized you go. They kind of fit in place. Again, it's all going to come down to your personal preference and style and all that kind of stuff. But even just trying to find where things would fit in a more realistic way. Alright, so we've got the jaw that might come straight down here. Then we've got the jaw at the back. Teeth, you know, so you can slowly start to build this scaffolding without, you don't have to do this. I just enjoy doing this and I find it pretty helpful. Oh, hold on, this is going to do my head in. Shortcuts, show me preferences, settings, keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts. What would it be under view, wouldn't it? Flip canvas. Application menus. View. Give me the flip. Flip horizontal. Command F. I will remove from edit. Okay. Accept and go to conflict. Alright, fine. Does that work? Boom, now we got flipping. But yeah, understanding a bit of the structure underneath really, really helps. And I just love doing this anatomy stuff. I just think it's fun. It's not necessary at all. A lot of people don't do it. I like to. Massey, can you dial up your output volume? Hold on. Give me a moment. Test. Testing. Okay, how is that? Did that go up? A little bit? Hopefully that doesn't blow your ear holes out. But yeah, that's how I like to play with stylization, is understanding that things still fit somewhere, but you're just inventing where they fit. So you're kind of building the puzzle. It's all a puzzle, you're building it. And you're building the pieces as you go, you know. That's better. Oh, fantastic. My little Mexican friend. Do you ever... I like that name. Do you ever do life drawing, like 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? I haven't done it in ages, but I think that could be fun to play around with. But what would you practice every day at the beginning to get better? Lana, it comes back to, again, what do I want to get better at? When I was doing gouache, I want to get back into that, is, okay, my goal was to get better at gouache, and I wanted to get better at laying down shapes of blocks of color. What I did, got up every morning and just got a piece of reference, not just the reference that I was painting, but also reference of other people. I highly recommend Angela Sung, for that kind of stuff. So then I would have a clear goal. I had something that I was measuring myself off of, be it the gouache reference. And that's how I'd tackle that. If you want to do anatomy, same deal. That's what I would do. All right, let's slap some color down. And we can refine this as we go. Exactly. You want to get better at everything? Practice everything then. I have fear to be a freelance. Do you recommend? What's the fear about? I say jump into it. Go. Do it. Because once you do that, you've got to figure it out. You've now got a client. And there are a few things better than having someone else apart from yourself, unless you've developed like an internal sense of, what's the word? Like discipline. Fewer things are better than having someone else relying on you to get the job done, and you'll learn stuff super fast that way. So I recommend jump into it. Give it a go. I mean, if you can get clients, hell yeah. And then that's a whole other deal, doing that. But I haven't had too much like I've done freelance with software development and that kind of thing, but not software design and development. But it's not something that I've really done too much of with the illustration stuff, or that I've actively been looking for, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm just getting some base values down, and we're gonna, whoa, excuse me. All my hotkeys are gone wonky. Give me a moment. Keyboard shortcuts. It was tools, eyedropper. Let's go. Command W. Command W. Is that you can W then? Okay. Better. All right, now we can utilize. We can do one or two things. We can utilize the references light source, or we can, because we've invented these shapes, we can invent our own, which I like the vibe of inventing my own. So I'm going to do like a top-down light source. Just getting those hard shadows in to begin with. Horned Overlord, how you doing? Lana, yeah, anatomy I want to get better at, and lighting and shading. We can merge those things into a session. So let's say you want to get better at anatomy. Let's try and do like a torso study, right? And with that torso study, breaking the shapes down, and then the next step is to light it. Figure out how to. So you're almost doing two in one in context. I think like studying in context is super beneficial. Horned Overlord, do you ever have moments where you share something you're proud of, then immediately regret it and wonder how you thought it was good? All the time. All the time. I think that's just one of those things that's never gonna change. And that feeling gets exacerbated with social media, which is something to look out for as well. Because you can have it where it could go both ways. You could be like, okay, I'm happy with this. I'm happy to share it. Boom, share it. And then if you get caught up in the numbers and whatever, the numbers aren't where you thought they were going to be, then you're like, shit, maybe it is shit. Maybe it wasn't that great. Or it can go the other way where you're like, oh, all right, I'm going to share it. I'll put it out there. And it just goes gangbusters. And you're like, oh shit, yeah, maybe it is not too bad. So it's a weird psychological game you can start playing with yourself. So I kind of try and stay away from that. I try and have like an internal idea of what I'm happy with and what the goal was essentially for whatever I'm putting out. And if I reach that goal, then that's the win. Okay, let's be careful with our light source here. Where is our light source? Let's say it's like up here somewhere. So let's just make a note of that. Light source, boom, up here. I like our key light source, I guess you could say. Young word, when learning different art fundamentals, when do you come to the point of like, okay, enough of that, time for something else? Or do you just flip-flop between different fundamentals? Honestly, I'm a bit of a flip-flopper. Like I'll be like, all right, let's get really nailed into like painting and getting the painting right. And there's, now I want to do line work. I saw something on Pinterest or Instagram. I'm like, yeah, I want to figure out how to do that. And then it goes into sculpting and physical painting and then airbrushing and blah, blah. I'm flip-flopping all over the place. Rachel, Ben, I just want to quit my job and draw. I feel ya. Ben, I was curious, how do you start to 3Dify everything? How do you think when you start to push and pull shapes into perspective? Good question. It's probably going to be like a boring answer. And you've been in enough streams to probably know the answer to what I'm about to say, but it's going to be coming down to these fundamentals. I hate that fucking the fundamental, but like let's say these core foundational shapes: the cube, the sphere, right, the cylinder. And I'll show over the top of this. Let's group this all together. How everything can be pretty much be broken down into this, or some variation of these kind of shapes. Right, so even looking at the lips, right, we can think of this top lip, forget the bottom lip, this top lip as a cylinder that's going back in space. There's just cut off here. You know what I mean? We cut that in half. It's probably looking at us a little bit more, so it's like a cylinder kind of going back in space. Right. And this is why I recommend a lot of 2D artists to crack open Blender or Nomad Sculpt, because you start to figure out how to create these shapes. All right, so imagine this is a cylinder. Okay, now we've got to manipulate this cylinder. So it's one thing to just be able to like have complete control of drawing any 3D shape whenever you want. But then it's another thing to manipulate that 3D shape after. So now we can cut that in half just to simplify it. Okay, and then we can just cut that, all that part away, and now we've kind of just got like a disc, like imagine like a disc. Now the bottom lip, that's going to be going at a different angle, and we can imagine a disc, like two discs intersecting, let's say. So if we bring back this whole disc and then this other disc here going back in space, they're two discs that are intersecting, but then we just cut them in half. And now we've got this kind of deal with the lips. The nose is kind of like a corner of a box, or you could, like if we, again, we could do it any multiple ways. We could do this as like half as, like imagine a cylinder sort of thing, going all the way through the head, then going back into space, right? But it's kind of like a squished cylinder. Eyes. Spheres. Spheres with a caveat, right? The eyes are spheres with a caveat. I'm not sphering them on top of the face. I'm sphering them imagining that they're going within the head. Okay, so this, I can't draw a circle to save my life. Damn you, coffee. So we need to up the smoothing. All right, knowing that this skull is going to be cutting into those eyes somewhat, and we're going to have folds and all that kind of thing of the eyelashes and that kind of thing. But for all intents and purposes, spheres. Now the whole head, we can break it down into multiple smaller shapes. Right, so we can think of this top part as a sphere if we want to. I don't tend to like to break it down too much, right? Because once you start to understand these 3D shapes, you could draw the oblong, weird, like head shape like this in 3 dimensions, like that, right? But let's just start off with the sphere at the top, and then we've got a bit of this chin coming down that's attached to that sphere, if you know what I mean. Probably want a bit more of the back of the head, but this kind of chin can be looked at as even like a pyramid, right? But with the top cut off. if that makes sense. So if we look at it on the side, if we imagine, we've gone into tangent town now. This is going to be one of these kind of streams. If we imagine that sphere, now we're going to look at the profile view. So we're looking at the side of the head at the moment, right? Sphere at the top. This triangle shape here. Okay, but that's going to have some dimension to it. Now, if we just took that chin part away, I just got to think, because it takes me a little bit to think about it. It's kind of like this, and if we were to see through that shape, it's kind of like that, which is like that pyramid just with like a pinched top, if that makes sense, or a rectangle, whereas instead of it being completely squared up the top, these edges come down into this kind of triangle-y shape, if that makes sense. So it's all about like starting with the basic shapes and then having the skills and the practice to break them down into the simpler forms. So even the ears, big old cylinders. All right, you can think of them as like coins even. Right, and that gives them direction. The neck, again, you can pretty much guess what that's going to be. It's going to be a cylinder. All right, hopefully that makes sense. I've gone off into a little bit of a tangent. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense, Rachel. Bashar, I want to know when you learned animation, specifically computer animation. Was it fundamental to you? I still haven't learned it personally. Like, if being honest, I just looked up for that particular job. It was a very simple animation, and I just looked up a bunch of tutorials on After Effects animation. So it was kind of like I had to give myself a crash course on getting something over the line for the client. But I set that expectation up front as well at the beginning. So there wasn't as much stress as me pretending to be like, I'm an animator and I know how to do it. No, it was very, look, this is new to me. It's going to take me a little bit of time to figure it out. But if you're willing to do that, then and wait a little bit, then that's cool. So a lot of that sort of stuff has to be like managing expectations. So then you're both on the same page with what's going on. Rachel, you're right on the money with the foundationals. The way you do it, though, is effortless, and I think it's because you have a lot of practice. Bang on. It's not effortless. It's not. It's like with everything, tying your shoes, brushing your teeth. The first time you do something, it's going to be like really clunky. But as you start to do it over and over and over and over again, you start to learn shortcuts and faster ways of going about doing things. So that's why I'm always like, I think I've done it. I did it in the past, but I don't really mention how long anything takes me anymore, because it's kind of irrelevant, because something could have taken me, like say if I spent 20 hours on something, if it's not correct and if it's not looking how I want it to, I don't want that number of like, oh, I've spent so long on this especially if there's no like deadline on it and it's just for me. I don't want that to dictate whether or not I want to change it or correct it or get it to exactly where I want it to be. So I find like however long it takes is irrelevant because no one really cares that much. It doesn't matter. I feel like it's just more like a flex online just to be like, oh yeah, I did this in like 30 minutes. And it's like, cool. And like, does it look good? If it looks good, sick. My little Mexican friend, on the subject of Blender, do you have any tips for building or buying a computer that can actually run it well? Currently on a MacBook and it's not cutting it. I'm on a MacBook Pro M1 Max. So I didn't build anything. I just bought that and it runs it okay. Awesome, Travis. Everyone go check out in the Discord as well. Post your sketches and warm-ups and all that good thing. One thing I've noticed is that you can lay out your landmarks and then you come in and start to develop the 3D, and it's really fast how you calculate it with the houses you would do. Yeah. That, again, is a different part of my brain that's working. Because if we're looking at reference and just going like bang, 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 a lot of that is 2D thinking to begin with, because it's just like very, very simplified 2D shapes. And then making it look 3D is then about the values and those 2D shapes in the values, and then skewing it and stylizing it in a way that I like. It's very different to what I'm thinking about here. ET, what do you think of the Riley method to construct the head? I think it's useful. I think, but I like to mix and match. What I've found useful, at least, is mixing and matching different styles. Because as I mentioned before, I can see shape a little bit clearer than line. I think I've just come to that realization. I'm sure I could train that to not be as much of as the case, but like different ways of that people have constructed their head, like you come up with your own, essentially, is what I'm trying to say, after a while, by looking at people like Steve Houston, Michael Hampton, Steve Hampton, like, and mixing and matching a whole bunch of them together is really, really beneficial. Patricia, welcome. Was there a point where you felt like things were really clicking for you, like all the studies and fundamentals and even social media? Yeah. I can't pinpoint that point. It was kind of like a slow burn, I guess. But the thing is, right, you get to that point, like with everything, you get to a point where you're like, the things that I'm drawing are, I'm happier with them. And that came with actual doing a lot of practice and study and that kind of thing, right? But as I mentioned before, you look back on it a few months later and you're like, fuck, not a fan. I would have done this differently, which is fun, which is great, because it means it never ends. You're always learning something. You're always trying to get better. I reckon you're going to be stuck as soon as you're like, yep, things are great. And I think I inadvertently, for better or worse, I tend not to stay in one, whether it be subject matter or medium, I guess, for too long, because I get bored. Like, I went and fully decked out my garage so I could make these 3D sculptures now, because that's like a new thing that will both help my 2D work and my 3D work, and then it's painting, and then it's da 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 da. That just makes it fun for me. Just really messing around. But I'm very aware that I have that opportunity because of what I've built up on social media as well, which I think more people should be looking to do. This is a little tip with the scat, like if you're doing the smudge tool. I'm playing around with the smudge tool a little bit. I don't generally do that, but to get that nice, like a little bit of a smoother kind of painterly smudge, scatter it, because without scatter you're kind of just like pushing it around. But if you scatter it, then you can kind of get nice quick transitions. That makes sense. Hope that makes sense. Just to give us something to work with. Yeah, this is just going to be a loosey-goosey stream. I'm just exploring, experimenting. Keshavaz, thank you very much. Welcome. Born, hi Ben, hope all doing well. Do you also stream on Twitch? Just curious. I don't, but I think I'm going to start, because I found a new plugin that allows me to shoot it out to multiple platforms. So I might be doing some multi-streams where I'm sort of going on Twitch and not Twitch. Sorry, I'm trying to focus on two things at once. Where I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube. But no, I've done like a very early stream on Twitch like years ago. But no, I'd be looking to do some more experimentation. I'd love to get it out everywhere. But also there's like internet restrictions as well that I've got with how much, because every time you multi-stream and you push it out, then you're using that bit rate to, anyway, you didn't ask for the technical shit. I would like to soon, yeah, but thanks for popping in, Born. Lana, I still can't figure out how to draw the same character in different poses. That comes back to these fundamentals of the 3D forms and simplifying them as much as possible, particularly when you're trying to do that. Because if you can do that, if you can rotate any shape in 3D space, that's so kind of something to aim for. Because then if you extrapolate that to, oh, well, if everything on the face or everything in my character can be broken down into simple shapes, then that's the first step into being able to manipulate them into any different shape that you want, while still keeping that likeness of the character. Art Girl, great to have you. Keshavaz. Yeah, I've talked about layering and stuff quite a bit in previous streams. If you want to pop back, I mean, that's a pain in the ass, but I'll be doing a lot more YouTube videos, which will hopefully help out. My latest video, which was like a few months ago now, which is annoying. But yeah, my latest YouTube video, I think, on my channel, I talk a little bit about the layers. think we can darken this whole thing down. That makes a bit more sense. Too dark. Fun guns. Great to have you. Lana, I appreciate it. Yeah, one day. Maybe one day. I am preparing a proper course. Like a course. Which will hopefully be helpful. It'll be coming out later on in the year. But I just want to lay out everything that I know in a way that makes sense. It's going to be, I'm going to call it stylized, I think. The trick of doing perpendicular to the vanishing line is so helpful for ellipses in perspective. True thumb guns. I love that. Once I figured that out, I was like, oh, so much easier. Oh, Instagram, my apologies. It's fucking half off the screen. That's the tricky thing with doing the mode. Like, I'm streaming both on Instagram and YouTube. Trying to keep that framing of both of them at the same time and talk and paint and not be boring. It's a bit of a juggling act. It is fun. All right, let's. This is looking a bit boring. What can we bring in to make it not so much? ARG, welcome back. Lesbianing 101, welcome, first timer, great to have you. ARG 1,000-hour course then. No, I don't. I mean, if it has to be, it will be. Do we add some sort of visor? I don't know why adding glasses or just like visors or just stuff makes it so much more interesting. So maybe I think we might have to just knock this back a little bit. I mean, this would probably be a good opportunity for some reference, but I cannot be bothered. It is not unusual for me just to whip in some eyewear. But in doing this, we've got to then take into account what's going to happen to the hair. This might poke out a little bit more or whatever. I'm not concerned about the story or anything like that. I'm just playing around with shapes. and their hair would probably tuck in to that top bit, probably, maybe, I don't know. Earrings, yeah, that's typical. Not unusual for me just to whip in an earring because, you know, this is like my comfort zone. Let's make it interesting. Let's just add accessories. Have a juggle. Jeez, how long you want this stream to be? Whoa, who bit my neck? Saw the stream in Instasub. Legend. Thanks for popping in. Rachel, Ben, this just means you need to buy a bigger computer and have a triple screen monitor set up. I've got one right now. I've got triple screens. I've got MacBook, main screen, 3 screens. If I can't do what I need to do in 3 screens, I think I'm doing something wrong. Highlights, yeah. That's why I like playing around with different materials, you know. But even going to the point of, okay, how would this actually sit on her nose? Well, we know that normal glasses, or maybe I'm inspired here by like masks and stuff that I've been wearing, because I want to get a different one. Now I'm doing like resin printing and stuff. Like, how is that going to sit on the nose? Is there like a little thing that has to go back in 3D space here, and it connects somewhat to there? Does that make sense? I don't know. Don't ask me these questions. But see how easy it would be just to like add that kind of nose thing just face on. But we got to think that this is, again, a 3D shape, and everything that we build off on top of, it's got to really conform to the face, you know. Born, are you going to do grayscale to color on this? Yeah, let's whip some color on. Okay, we've got this as something different. I'm going to start doing the underneath with some color. Good call. I would like to start whipping some color, because that's, I think, what I said in the beginning. I want to really play around with some color variation like I have done on this page so far. So let's have some fun. And let's do it the faster way. Color layer mode. Paint bucket. Whoa. Something like that. Now, what do we do anytime that... Actually, let's get that selection, and let's do the eyes just at the very least, like a different... Whoa. I don't hate it, but not what I was looking for. The eyes are never white. They're always some form of grey. Right, and I'm really not focusing on this reference here. I'm winging it. What we could do while we're here with the, well, sorry, jiggling the camera. While we're here with the eyes, what we could do is add a little mask. And let's finesse these values just a tad. So let's get this looking. We get a little bloody airbrush going. Just make them start to look a little bit 3D. just quickly. It's looking a little bit weird at the moment, but that's to be expected. Now let's add some color variation. I like to whip in the multiply layer. Let's do some subtleties with the airbrush instead of having it all hard lines, if you know what I mean. So we can come in here, the nose. I like to do the ears. Whoa. And this is kind of the process if I'm airbrushing. I will put the base layers on first, like in real life I'm talking about. Where's the filthy plugin? We got some hue shifts going. Right, and then I'll sort of get like a transparent color and start adding some of these colors in there. I really want to play around with painting like I do here with like all these like different color variations and whatever on the actual sculpt. I want to see how that would work. I reckon that'll be fun. I feel like there's going to be a lot of iteration with that and a lot of headaches, but nothing wrong with trying something new. Now we haven't even touched the highlights or anything yet, right? And this is very formulaic with like the red nose, red ears, a little bit more yellow on the forehead. But in doing this, I can start to darken the whole thing down, you know, which is good for us when we want to, no. When we want to add some of those highlights and those specular highlights in particular, because it gives us just a little bit more of a darker background to pop off of. We can always, I haven't got my, don't have my hotkey for the swapping to black and white, which is annoying. What you can do as well though, is like a quick, one. You can just add like a black and white layer mode on top of everything. If that helps at all, you can just toggle it on and off if you don't have that hotkey, which I don't at the moment. Glitch, what's happening? What about a straw coming out of her eye? Jesus Christ, Rachel. That's a bit intense. Or spider bites, maybe. His vision is full of Apple products. He has Apple vision. You know it. Give it a cheetah hat. That could be cool to have like different, like on the visor, maybe. Like different patterns on the top. I don't know. As if she's like customized it or something. I don't know. Or a hat shaped like a cheetah. That could be cool. Thungas, is there an Australian version of Lilo and Stitch called Milo and Fish? Always coming with the good stuff. Thunguns. I'm going to need to buy grayscale vision goggles. I wonder if that's a thing. Because for like traditional work, that'd be super beneficial. That'd be really, really beneficial. Huh. I wonder. I doubt it. It might go mono. You might be able to do monochrome, but I don't know about grayscale. walking. Hey man, I heard you've been dodging your payment to the duck gang at the park. I heard they're really angry and they're saying you won't get away with it just to buy it this time. But oh shit. If you don't know what he's talking about, go check out last stream where I was assaulted by a duck. The Australian ducks here are nasty. They're not really. I think that one was just a mum protecting her babies. We got some geese, like where I go for a walk. Got some big fuck off geese. Just like strutting their stuff. Like they're little like... They've got attitude. They don't give a fuck. They'll bite your eyeballs out. Now the eyes look a little bit glowy at the moment, you know, so we got to do some stuff to the eyeballs. We need to do a lot of stuff if I'm completely honest, but I'm just gonna keep cruising along. It'll slowly come together. Thumb guns. That was a good one. I like it. I like it. Very, very good. Sometimes you take big swings and you fucking hit it out the park. Oh, we got a couple of Lanas. Lana, how you doing? Welcome. I came back for the bad words. What happened? You're gonna have to scooch back just a little bit. Go back like, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. I fight to the death is in order. All right, now what we can do over the top of everything. Now we got our like base kind of moody tones, I guess you could say. Let's like add something in the background to work off of. That's kind of cool. I don't hate the blue. We can tweak it later. Maybe we tweak it now. Whatever. Maybe like a turquoise to bounce off of that warmness of the skin. And then we can maybe even do like more of a turquoise light on her. Who knows? Who knows? You never know. All right, let's add in the screen layer, shall we? Go back to the filthy plugin. Shout out. Shameless plug in. Fun guns, I'm taking after you. Lana, just hang back and chill. No stress. You need to take that break, take a break. It's been a long day. Alright, so you see how I'm not going full value with some of these shapes. It's just going to start to slowly give it some dimension. I want to kind of creep up on it in a way. Go multiply. Bashar, awesome. Great to hear it. The beta. It's so sad for me that your lives are so late at night. Your content is amazing. I appreciate you. Yeah, I do want to try and do some different time zones. I've said that a lot. But I mean it when I say it that I want to. Music is like Street Fighter and Beverly Hills Cop. I know, right? It's pretty good. I don't hate it. Oh, it's good to be back on stream. I tell you what, I missed it. I mean, we only missed a week, but still. Yeah, that's the vibe I'm going for. I like that. Don't hate that. What if we... Sometimes you just got to whip that opacity and the flow right the way down. Just to get those subtle little value changes. Alright, so with this I really want it... Whoa, get out of here, yeah. I want the smooth brush. Yeah, there we go. So now we've got some kind of tint to this. Now these eyes are doing my head in. I'm not a fan of the eyes right now, so I reckon we just go straight into some normal painting. So just layer on top. I mean, we could even just take this whole thing, duplicate it just in case, and just work on the one layer. We're in it now. Fun guns, because I can't be bothered to change the timer. We started off with a 5-minute timer and we just kept going. Vinny, how you doing? From Brazil. Got a lot of Brazilians in here. Yeah, I think I've got to do some Brazil focused art. What should I do? Let me know. Awesome, Bashar. Lana, is she called Plain Jane because of the planes? Exactly, and you look how it's spelt as well. Artistic, how you doing? How do you get the eyes far enough apart? I know they are an eye width apart. They're not. They're really not, because that only makes sense straight on. Right? So if you're you look at me, we can say, okay, maybe it's like an eye width apart, like my eyes. But if I go on the side, is it an eye width apart? Maybe, but it's in perspective. So there's a little bit of a caveat with that, if that makes sense. Caveat. Soccer. Yeah, right, okay. I have to do some soccer related stuff. Now I want to have a little bit of a lower lid, I think. That's what I'm looking for. That looks a little bit more natural, I think. Feels a bit better. Artistic, you're getting in on the puns. Alright, we'll just slowly keep moving the shapes around. Now this brow would technically be a little bit shorter than this one, just because of what we've got with the perspective. So yeah, how you doing, my friend? How's the job going? ARG, how much time do you spend studying and sketching compared to working on projects? More so working on projects than studying and sketching nowadays. Not a good thing, but that's where I'm at the moment. But it kind of swings. Sometimes I'm in full study mode, then other times it's like, all right, I've got to execute and get some cool stuff going. So really, there's like seasons to it, if that makes sense. Demogorgon. The Olympic Games had some hype here now. Oh, interesting. Rip Rup. Yeah, it's always this time, 10:45 a.m. Australian Central Standard Time. Rachel, Ben, I'm going to go exercise and play video games while doing so. Can't wait for the hand breakdown to arrive. Awesome, Rachel. Can't wait for it to get there. Thanks for popping in. Demo go, if you draw anyone who won a medal, a lot of Brazilians will appear. Nice one. Zocco Santos. Hey, Ben, have you done stencils? No. I don't know what you mean by stencils. Stencils for what? Cayman, I'm doing well, my friend. Welcome. Keanu, great to have you back. So here I'm just trying to find the shapes that make sense. This is going to be real subtle kind of transitions. Demo girl, what you said is very good to be remembered. Lately, I've only been applying knowledge. I have to study more. Like last month, yeah. Sayek, my job was great most of the time, working and pitching. Try to do my best for my talent team. Awesome. That's great to hear. Lucy, thank you for your advice earlier. I started to sketch alongside you trying to stylize this reference. I'll post it to the Discord later. I feel like your advice helped me here. Fantastic. Hell yeah. Okay. Now this needs to be a lot darker in here. Now we can do all sorts of stuff. We can add some like rim lights. We do need to sculpt this head a little bit better though. Just with some of the little intricacies without making it look like she's got a mustache, please. No mustache. You can call me Demon Girl. It's more easy. I just don't change because I had it in a lot of arts and social media. Yep. That makes sense, Demon Girl. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Too dark. No. No. Better. Let's try luminance look. Now with the highlight, we need the shadow. We need to clean up a lot of this underneath here. Even like along the face here, clean that up. Make sure this is all making sense. All right, I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I'll be back. Actually, let's do a 2-minute break. In 2 mins. Okay. And we're back. Mocha Boba, hello, haven't been here for a while. I swear I can't identify values. How do you actively practice values? Just grayscale studies? That, and just doing a lot of sphere studies as well. Like if you've got the capacity, whip open Blender and give that a whirl. Because you start putting your own light source in, then it has context instead of just grayscale studies, if that makes sense. I dare you to try and paint like Yuming Lee. Yuming Lee. Let's have a look. Who's Yuming Lee? Whoa, 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 wow. Oh, wow, well, we were. Very, very high chroma. That could be cool. Let's see if we can get a bit of that going in here. Still drawing, shout out. But what if the light is coming from under and you can't get a reference? How do you figure that out? Again, sphere. Sphere, sphere, sphere. And then what we talked about earlier about mapping the different planes onto the face. But there can be, there's a lot of reference out there for like under lighting and that kind of stuff. Shape dynamics can get out of here. So I'm just pushing and pulling, thinking about the planes, how the light would be kind of dipping in and out. Still haven't gone full specular highlight yet. Not interested yet. Keanu would love to see a Blender stream someday. That's going to be coming a lot more because I got myself a 3D printer and I'm so excited. I'm really excited. Demon Girl, I'll go to the Discord. I loved your art and I didn't go to lives much. Our skill level was amazing, so I want to see more related things. Awesome. Catch you later, Demon Girl. Wow, wow, wow. Tomorrow's short is done. Beautiful. Yeah, I've got to knock one of those out today. Good work, Bashar. Rip up, I know. I do enjoy this this playlist. It's pretty chilled. Pretty chilled. Venom, how you doing? What are you going to do for Halloween when you're in America? Oh shit, am I going to be in America for Halloween? I didn't even know that. When's Halloween? October something, isn't it? October 31st. What's going to be my costume? I don't know. That's a good question. Peter Griffinson. Nice. Artistic, you've been getting into Blender lately. Nice one. Yeah, I'm going to definitely be doing a lot. It might be a separate stream actually, because now I'm going to be doing more 3D printing stuff and going through that. Maybe if, for the people that are interested just in that, I've now got a dedicated reason to do more Blender stuff. which is cool. But yeah, no, this 3D printing stuff is fascinating. I've got so many ideas, like anatomy tools and like even expression study sculpts I want to make, and yeah, it's going to be fun. Be plain Jane for Halloween. I'm just a plane. I'm just a rectangle. Doodle Melon Pie. Good morning from Berlin. Good morning. Lapavan, any books you can recommend to master values and rendering if you don't mind? Any books? I don't know any books off the top of my head specifically for that. Probably be better off on YouTube or like a course. If there was one, I'd let you know, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. I don't know if anyone in chat knows one. Scott Robertson's how? Oh, fucking, of course. Bam. That bad boy. It is a textbook. I think of this as like a textbook. Don't just look at the pictures. It gives you all sorts of stuff, you know, like it goes full in detailed. Now, do I remember everything in here? No. But I've made enough. Oh shit. I've made enough notes that I can refer back to if I want to like the halfway to black rule. Boom, this page. I like doing this with a lot of my books. So they become useful. You could be frank for Halloween, true. Getting excited for Halloween. Yeah, it's funny. I've never really done Halloween that much. Lapavan, I should thank you for inspiring me to get back to art. With that inspiration, I was able to get a junior position as a game artist in the same company in which I was previously working as a game tester. Fantastic. That's so cool to hear. Congratulations. How are you finding it? Oh, it did. Fantastic. The Gumroad course helped. That's awesome to hear, my friend. Oh, Lapavan. Bloody hell. You're a bloody legend. No, I really appreciate the support. It's awesome to hear that you got something out of the tutorial. And thanks for letting me know as well, because it's always good to hear that the stuff you put out has helped people. There is this kind of cool thing that eyes do sometimes, where they have this like darker, almost like a grey ring around them, which then gives it like a little bit of a more realism in here. Does she have that? Oh, where is she? Not really, but I'm adding it. Lana. Mark, how you doing from Germany? Great to have you. Do we like those highlights? I don't think we like those highlights. No. Not for me. When will we see me give animation a shot? That's a very good question. I am but one man. And there's only 24 hours in a day, so I have to prioritize that if I'm going to give it a real go. Hopefully soon. So I reckon that'll be really fun. Even on like a small scale, like what that would look like, I'm not sure. So there's some kind of inconsistencies here with some of these forms. So I'm just trying to iron them out. Even that bottom lid could just have just an indication of, see, just doing that, right? Although it's not perfect, then gives that illusion of that lower lid, right? It's all to do with context. Yeah, there's a lot I'm not loving about it. I think it's got to do with the consistency of the light source across everything. First coffee, don't ask. Nice one, Mark. Yeah, I'm doing well, my friend, doing well. Any plan on doing that anatomy course? Eventually, yes. I've got a lot of plans. Can't make any promises as to when, but it's coming. Cayman, how long did it take you to develop this painting style? Probably about like a couple of years, I think. Just like slowly iterating, trying new things, and looking at what others are doing, how they're tackling problems. So a while. Yeah, something's not clicking for me. Let's try and figure it out. But I appreciate you, my friend. Any plans on making a video about your art journey? Yeah. Yep, I think that could be a good one. Lapovan, he'll be waiting. I appreciate you. think there's just a bit of messiness here around the lips, which we can hopefully clean up a little bit. Brain chemistry. Do you have any videos that go over doing flats and textures in digital painting? Oh, I'm sure I do. Check my latest video on my channel. It does have a little bit of that. Just like the text, that kind of painterly texture. Do they have regular high school in Australia, or is it like A levels like in England? I think we've got regular high school, but it's not like how they say it. It's not like sophomore or any of that sort of stuff. It's like when I went through high school, it was year 8 through 12. And that's classified as high school. Mark, lighter highlights. Yeah, I don't want to go there just yet though. I want to get the foundations, just dial them in a little bit more, but you're right. Lighter highlights would make more sense. But if I'm putting the highlights in, they've got to be on a good foundation, if you know what I mean. Brain chemistry, no worries. Or I feel like every reference image you draw is like you're adding it to your own universe. Yeah, it is kind of like that, isn't it? Yeah, just tweak and change it to whatever kind of looks and feels kind of cool. Mark, so is this intended to be a portrait in this particular style, or seeing Eastwood Stranger with no name? Are you planning to work that into the design too? Just asking. No, this is just this is just a little study. Just a little study, like an isolated study, because I did him like a quicker version, more like 2D, more graphic. The other stream. So this, I've just been feeling like I want to do a little bit more. What's the word? Like color exploration, and get back into the swing of finding the values and shapes and all that good stuff. If that makes sense. So just a little color stylization study. All right, what I think, so this is my way of troubleshooting. Right, what I'm thinking about is, I've gotten this far. I could spend another 6 hours on this, but let's find the wireframes. So we've got the eyelid popping out, dipping back in. All right, now we've got the eyelid popping in. Then how far out do we want this cheek to go? That's going to dictate a lot of our rendering. Right, I would like it to kind of have a smoother kind of curve, so it's got to kind of be similar. That looks kind of cool, just as like as a cyber kind of whatever, but this is what I'm thinking about from a wireframe perspective. So that's going to help dictate. Okay, maybe I soften this curve down here, and this is a little bit more of a drastic kind of fall off, but then this mouth dips out a little bit more maybe. Awesome, Lucy. Great to have you pop in. Have a great night. I think what we can do as well is add some color variation, some more color variation. Let's add a few more purples. Maybe around the eyes just a little bit. Add a bit of colour in here with the shadows. This would actually be quite a bit darker. That ear. Now we've got those like wireframes on her face. It kind of, with this music, it kind of gives that like cyberpunky kind of vibe. Hey Ben, are you using a configured keyboard, or do you know the shortcuts to all this stuff? I've got a couple of shortcuts. Most of them are Photoshop standard, but when it comes to the Filthy plugin, I made the eyedropper W and the flip canvas Control F. I like this little like shape in here, so let's try see if we can do our own version of that. See, that's what I oftentimes neglect, is that transition into the hair. So it's not a bad idea just to add that in, because we always think, oh, I got to get the face right and the proportions, but the hair and the hairline is a huge part of that. Oh, it's good to have a painting session. Again, thank you guys for popping in and keeping me company. It is an absolute pleasure to sit and talk shit and just have some fun. Oh, the circle, that's F. Oh, no, not by itself. When you're in the brush, oh shit, what is it? Now when I'm thinking about it, it's not going to work, is it? No, it's not F. What is it? Okay, I've just got to do it and then not think, because I've forgotten what the shortcut is. Hold on. No, it's not that. Shit. No, not over just yet, Lana. Not over just yet. We'll go for another 20 minutes. What? I've been doing it the whole time. What the fuck is it? Oh, that's silly. Oh, what is it? This is stupid. It's just gone from my brain. Hold on. Maybe that will help. Coffee. Do your thing. No. 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 Oh, that's stupid. Because that's such a useful one as well. I just don't think about it. Bashar, what are you doing to me, man? Oh my god. No, this has changed. I'm going to have to Google it. Let's find out together. That is stupid. Photoshop, brush, size, change, shortcut, mouse. Hold down Alt. No. This is ridiculous. I'm so embarrassed right now. What's going on? It'll come back. We've just got to get frustrated with... Okay. Control Option on Mac. I don't know what that is in Windows. Control Option and then like slide. Like that. Far out. Why? What happened there? Oh God. That's a worry. That's all right. What would that be on Control Option? Maybe like Control Alt and slide with the mouse. Give that a go. What does Arvo mean? It means the afternoon. It's like, oh, see you later on this Arvo. See you later on this afternoon. Use Alt plus mouse. There you go on Windows. That's it. Hopefully that works. I can't confirm, but I trust Keanu. Now everything's feeling a little bit muted at the moment. The colors just aren't popping exactly the way I want them. So what we can do a few things. We can just keep painting away, but thinking about some of these transition colors. Right, so instead of it just going straight down here, just into a, which is fine, it works. What we can maybe try and do is, if we've got this, maybe we can like warm it up a little bit. And then as we dip down ever so slightly, play around with the colors. I'm just going to make these transitions nice though. Should we get these highlights starting to pop in a little brighter? Just got to make everything else pop around it. I like Australian slang. Yeah, you know what? Me too. For hard muscle memory, yeah. You can't describe it, but you know what you do, and then when you try and think of it, you can't remember. Yeah, go for it, Prashad. Let us know. I'm digging this. Now we got to make a decision here. Do we have like a hard ridge on this brow, or do we smooth it over, or do we go in the middle? That's what I've got to figure out. I think we do like a little bit of like a half and half. Nah, let's smooth it actually. That feels a little bit more natural. And by smoothing it, all I'm thinking about are the value transitions. It worked on the tablet too. Fantastic. Keanu, when did you realize that you could use crazy colors so long that the values are okay? Oh, I can't remember. But it was like a game changer, for sure. I think it was actually maybe one of Marco Bucci's videos where he was saying like it's all in the grays. And I was just like, hell yeah, let's give that a whirl. And maybe, just maybe, because our eyebrows are kind of up a little bit, we can do some of this kind of Don't want to make it look like she's got a massive crease on her forehead, but maybe knock that back just a little bit. Now we're in square in the center of Noodletown right now, but I'm fine with it. Now, this is kind of my key jumping off point for the rest of the highlights. I'm trying to get this feeling correct so then I can come through. And then use this as a reference for everything else. Super, welcome back, my friend. Dude, guess what? I got myself a 3D printer. That means we're going to need some super expertise with Blender. What's for lunch, Shuri? Do I reckon just some eggs. Just some eggs. Scrambled or an omelette. Should studies of references you do be posted and post your art? Yeah, post your art, not the challenge work in progress. Unless it's a specific challenge, then whip it in the challenges. Ray, how you doing, my friend? Hope you've been keeping well. Yeah, glad to be back. I tell you what. Mick, how you doing? I'm doing well. Thunguns, have you drawn your Asari head in sunglasses? I haven't. That's not a bad idea, actually. See, now that we've got some more context with the highlights, when we place them, they have a lot more impact. We can have a little bit of that going on. Give some dimension, like a little bit of hair curling back onto the face. I didn't hate that actually. So then we can give that illusion of maybe like a bit of wind happening. Give some movement. I like that. It's a little happy accident. But with that now comes the opportunity to add in like a bit of shadow on the face, you know. Then we've got to find where that hair came from. We can add maybe a bit of that. I don't know. Thank you again for your help with my portrait. Oh, Sungun's Legend. Helping out in Discord. No, and I like that behind the, yeah, behind the neck. Now, even with the eyebrows, they are three-dimensional forms as well. So we can utilize, whoa. That light source on even the eyebrows. So these parts of the eyebrows are going to be brighter. They could even cast a bit of a shadow. Let's go through and clean up this, whoa, excuse me. Clean up this outer shape. I appreciate it, Lana. Yeah, something's starting to click. Slowly but surely. Catch you later, Mark. Thanks for popping in. Thank you, Geiger. I think there can be maybe some transitional little like hairs here or something, I don't know. Just to kind of break the silhouette a little bit. Now these are skewing on the very unrealistic highlight realm, you know what I mean? Like it's not super living in the realism zone. That's okay. Ruth Draws, that is using a plugin called the Filthy plugin, which is something that me and my good friend Francis Lee developed, which is in the description. Yeah, we haven't really finessed the lips as much as I would like. Let's think about this. Where is my color? Yeah, let's try that. So I like what I saw there. So there's going to be a little bit of a ridge maybe on the coloured part of the lip, which we can utilize. Trying to find that like a little bit of chroma that's going to make the highlight pop just a little bit more. There you go. And we're in the no speaking section of the stream. Hopefully you guys are in the zone as well. I didn't have eggs for breakfast. I had a protein shake after the gym. So my egg quota has not been fulfilled. Oh shit, we had all the visor and everything, didn't we? Look, maybe that's something that we tackle first up next stream. All right. As we wind up the stream ever so slowly, and I whip in some rim lights, we'll do these at the same time as the plugs. So, if you want to learn more about my process, I do have a Gumroad tutorial available right now. You can check that out in the description. I've also been coming out with art drops. What does an art drop mean, you say? Well, it's a good question. So I've been sculpting and painting and casting my own sculpts recently and putting them up for sale in small batch runs, which I'll show you quickly. This was plain Jane, half painted. Alright, so you can sign up to the early access. Got some art prints as well. And one lucky person got my Hellboy gouache study. So you can sign up to the early access list to let you know when the next drop's coming. You can also... Well, I need to remove that. You can also come and check out the Gumroad tutorial. That doesn't really show it what's involved. I'm not a fan of Gumroad's landing page. That's why I've got my own website, beneblin.com. So you can check out my walkthrough, 8 hours, 10 chapters. You get some 3D models included. You also get a 40-page field guide if you like reading as well as watching the videos. And I think that'll be all for plugs today. Let's whip in these highlights. I think I might want to do them more on the orange side. I'll also be at Lightbox this year. Traveling over to Los Angeles. So if you want to come and say hi, come hang out. I'll be there. I think it's October the 21st. The weekend of the 21st, I believe. So that'll be good fun. Get your tickets where you get your tickets from. I'm assuming it's lightbox.com. I should really have that more nailed down. I will over the next coming weeks. technically wouldn't really be hitting. Oh, maybe it could. But we can pull out some of these little hairs here to give it more context. And then the chin. Cool. Look, I reckon we'll leave it there. Catch you later, Lana. You have a great day, night, evening, morning. Venom, what's better, Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop? Depends what you're using him for. Illustrator is more of a vector program, so it's more for like simple shapes and logos and graphic design and that kind of stuff. Photoshop is for, I guess, all this kind of stuff. And a whole bunch of other things as well. Appreciate it, super. Great to have you pop in. So, next stream. Same time. 10:45. Oh, excuse me. 10:45 Australian Central Standard Time, which is, I believe now, 6 p.m. PST. Venom, if you need to choose between the two, go Photoshop if you want to start drawing. Genevieve, appreciate you popping in. All right. Appreciate it. Sweet dreams to you too. All right. Catch you later, all. I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.